Yo, what's up? Welcome inside the opening line. My main man, Tyler Beaker, holding it down for Benny today. We'll jump into some waiver wire talk. We'll give a first look at the NFL week number 8 spreads and lines. And also coming up a little bit later on is opening day in the NBA. So we'll get you 2 NBA picks. I'm not really playing NBA DFS, but everybody over at Elite Fantasy is. So give some information on that too before we get up out of here. Tyler, what's good with you, my man?
What's going on, Corey? How you doing, man? I'm excited to be on here.
I'm glad to have you, and I'm glad you can fill in for Benny this morning on short notice. Benny's in jury duty. I was asked with Benny what would happen if he got picked for a trial, and he was telling them. He said he was going to tell the judge that he has a special needs child that he has to be home with every day, which is not true. You know what I'm saying? But anything to get out of jury duty, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what they say. I've always wanted to be on jury duty, so I can't say it, but. If you got to get out, you got to get out, man.
I've never been actually selected.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess it goes by registered voters. But what I notice is in election years, which next year will be, I end up getting called for jury duty. I've never actually sat on a jury, but I've always sat in there for 8 hours for like 2 or 3 days to not be picked, which is just as worse as being on a jury. It's probably even worse than being on the jury. But anyway, the jury is starting to get out on some of these football teams. I'm surprised Dan Quinn still has a job this morning, but Arthur Blank still holding on. Speaking of Dan Quinn, the Falcons trade Mohamed Sanu to the Patriots. It looks like the Falcons are going to be sellers. It's a total shit show in Atlanta. What do you think about Sanu joining that crew up there in New England?
Yeah, it stinks for Atlanta because a lot of us had high hopes for that offense. They had an easy schedule. I mean, it was widely publicized. 13 of 16 games were in domes. We thought it would have been a cakewalk for them, especially against the NFC South rivals. But yeah, things have just fallen apart due to injuries, due to poor performance, due to play calling. There's just so many reasons.
Bad coaching. And probably you got a situation, a classic situation. A team this talented, you can tell that Dan Quinn's words are going in one ear and out the other because the Falcons are in bad shape right now, and that roster is too talented. They don't play no defense, but whatever. But Sanu now on the Patriots, though, for his fantasy backers, he moves into a pretty good situation. But you know what else just makes me worry? When I saw this trade, my first thought was, oh, God, I hope everything is okay with Josh Gordon.
Yeah, that was my first thought, was him and Dorsett trying to figure out how the injuries are playing out. I mean, Dorsett played last night, but he had that hamstring injury that was lingering. Gordon not playing, definitely an injury concern. I totally agree with you there. That should be the first thought there. The one thing I'm concerned about is how all the other skill players see their target shares moving forward. I think Sanu's addition, or he can play any wide receiver position, will water down the rest of the group, making them all take a step backwards as far as target potential. Because I think Sanu's going to be an integral part moving forward. I mean, they didn't just give up that much. I think it was a second-round pick to get him.
Second-round pick. That's an NFL starter, a second-round draft pick.
That's high equity. I mean, you definitely don't do that to just have him ride the bench. I think what he does is he raises Brady's ceiling, but I think he lowers the ceiling of all the other skill position players in the process.
All right, so there you go right there. Mohamed Sanu on his I think he's about to be a fixture in your lineups for the rest of the way, probably in that wide receiver 3 range, that flex range. All right, let's get ready to hop in and talk about some pieces on the waiver wire. I'm looking at quarterbacks, and the first name I see is Ryan Tannehill. I'm not ever going to roster Ryan Tannehill. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah, Tannehill's a tough one to back, but I mean, the matchup here is there against the Bucs. I mean, we play football as a week-to-week game, and we want to target teams that are terrible. The Bucs defense fits that bill. I get it if you're in deeper leagues, like 16-team leagues or 2 QB leagues, but that's about it. If you're in a 10 or 12 team,
in one of your DFS lineups this week?
No, I probably won't.
Okay.
I might look at one of the big wide receivers, Corey Davis or AJ Brown, just because I think they could outmuscle any of those Tampa Bay D-backs they have, but that's about it.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here with that. Sam Darnold's on the waiver wire too. I wouldn't pick him up after that performance last night. That was terrible last night. The Jets. The Jets were overvalued last night. Even catching 10, they were overvalued. They were coming off that win against Dallas. I didn't watch not one snap for that game. I did have a play-in on Monkey Knife Fight where I had the touchdown rush, and I had Le'Veon Bell, Sony Michel and Phil Dorsett for over 2.5 touchdowns. So that did hit on Monkey Night Fight. But other than that, I didn't see a snap because I knew the Jets were going to go down tough. The Chase Edmonds thing is the story of the week in fantasy and how that all went down with the Arizona Cardinals. It was an absolute scam, and that was a low-class move by the Cardinals, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I understand the Cardinals are in the business of winning football games, but trust me, nobody gives a shit about the Arizona Cardinals except for people sweating fantasy. You know what I mean? And that was a pretty low-class move, in my opinion. Not playing him, but going to troll people after playing him. You know what I'm saying? When they said that David Johnson was going to be the starter, and then and then they pulled the wool over our eyes after one play and put Chase Edmonds out there. But that's water under the bridge now, Tyler. Moving forward, what do you think of Chase Edmonds?
Yeah, that was a rough move because everyone had played David Johnson. We read the tea leaves. That's what everyone was told. That's what we did. It was just a terrible move by the Cardinals. But Chase Edmonds moving forward, I think he is a guy it's hard to fade. I mean, we saw how effective he was. All 3 of his touchdowns came from 20-plus yards out. So he's got that big play, explosive upside that we kind of look for in running backs. Able to get things done in the receiving game as well. He only had 2 catches last week, but didn't really call for it considering the game script. There's a huge blowout there. It was a rainy game, sloppy game, and I think Edmonds just took advantage of a really poor Giants run defense, and he hit the edge, and he was gone. I mean, there's sweeps that they had for him, and
it looked like the 2 of the touchdowns. It looked like he scored the first touchdown. When they went to the game break and they showed the second touchdown, I thought it was a replay of the first play. I was just like, wait a minute, that's the second touchdown on the same exact effing play? But that's the New York Giants for you. But yeah, I agree. I think he could have some juice going forward. It's probably not, depending on the size of the league you're playing. Do you think he's an ad in 10-team leagues?
Yeah, I think he's an ad in 10-team leagues. He's owned in less than 50% of Yahoo leagues right now, and those are 12-team leagues. So in 10-team, he's probably around the 60 mark. But yeah, if he's in that 40%, if you're in that league, definitely go pick him up because we saw it with David Johnson sidelined, and he has a back injury. Those can flare up at any time. Chase Edmonds is definitely worth the ad.
Ty Johnson for the Lions. Kerryon Johnson looked like he's going to be banged up. Kerryon's been a disappointment. And I was watching him run the other day on Sunday because I was heavily invested in the Detroit Lions on Sunday. I was heavily invested in them winning the contest, and I was heavily invested in Kenny Golladay. Everybody else did good except for what I was looking for. But, I watched college football, and Kerryon Johnson was a hell of a runner at Auburn. He don't look like the same player right now. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know if he's injured or his skills are declining. It comes out this week. He's a little bit banged up. Ty Johnson, J.D. McKissick are the 2 guys that's in that backfield with him. I like McKissick, but nobody's talking about McKissick, I guess because he plays so few snaps. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think of Detroit Lion running backs?
I like McKissick too. I mean, we had some success in Seattle, but I think they're going to try to use him as more of a change of pace back. Yeah. Try to use Ty Johnson as the main guy moving forward. He had a really good combine, ran a 4.45. He's got a crazy, I think it was like over 9.0 yards per carry in college. Definitely a speedster and a guy that they want to use as like a receiving back. That's like the main role they want to use him. So I definitely like the Detroit Lions passing attack moving forward without Kerryon. I think they're going to lean on Johnson as more of a receiver out of the backfield. He had 4 catches last week. I think he could do that week after week for them.
No doubt. I agree with you on that. I think McKissick might be worth $1 too. I got to dig a little bit deeper into that. Do we have to talk about Mark Walton?
I mean, it's the Dolphins, man. They're so tough to.
We have to talk about them. I'm not adding no Dolphins on my team, B. I can't back a team that's trying to lose.
Yeah, unless you're in like a 16-team league, I don't think there's any need to go here.
Yeah, I agree. Any other running backs on the wire you think could be interesting for this week or moving forward?
Yeah, Darrell Henderson with the Rams. I mean, we saw that Malcolm Brown didn't practice at all last week due to injury. If Todd Gurley had any kind of setback or even if he's just being spelled, Henderson has that speed and ability to hit the end zone anytime he touches the ball. He's got a pretty good matchup coming up this week. I kind of like him if you're forced to pick a player this week and need at least some touches.
All right. Oh, there you go right there. Wide receivers, I think Kenny Stills is a good ad. I think Cole Beasley should be owned in leagues, but if he's not, definitely pick up Cole Beasley. He's the receiver to own in Buffalo. I'm starting to. I think my top ad this week would probably be Kenny Stills because Kenny Stills looks like a integral part of that offense, and we got a couple of, and I believe Kuti leave the game banged up as well.
Yeah, I love Stills. Like he's going to fill in that deep role that Wheeler had that was very profitable. If you rostered for a couple weeks back, 3 touchdown possibility with Stills. I think Stills is going to be a plug and play exact role filler for Will Fuller, where he hits 90% of the snaps as that perimeter wide receiver that they use on deep routes. Love that call. I think he's one of the top wide receiver or top waiver wire ads, especially at the wide receiver position. The other guy that I'm really into is Corey Davis, just because we saw Ryan Tannehill actually breathe some life into this offense, which, I mean, granted, it was against the Chargers defense, but Corey Davis still came away with 6 catches, 80 yards, and a score. I don't mind him if we're trying to like look for a play moving forward. There's definitely like a very thin waiver wire, and I don't know. Like at this point in the season, you're not going to get a lot of must-play starts that you can just fill in your roster. But Corey Davis is available in like 60% of leagues right now. I think he's a viable ad if you're looking for wide receiver help.
That's interesting because I'm just like I'm off the Titans. I don't like Ryan Tannehill. I wasn't a fan of Mariota. I think they got some good talent on that team, but I think those guys would be inconsistent. But coming up to this side of the year, if you need help at wide receiver, basically the best thing that you're gonna get is one of these Titans guys, or unless you want to do the Preston Wilson thing. And
Yeah.
I mean, what's Preston Williams, right? What's his name?
Yeah, Preston Williams. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But Cole Beasley's out there too, and I like Cole Beasley a lot. Mohamed Sanu could be available. I'm never going to tell anybody to pick up Robbie Anderson because I think Robbie Anderson's a one-trick pony. What do you think of Robbie Anderson?
Yeah, he's definitely a one-trick pony, but this schedule is fantastic for the Jets moving forward. They have like one tough outing in the next like 7 or 8 games. I mean, if you're trying to pick up any guys off the waiver wire, I'd target some Jets players. Chris Herndon, another guy, we'll get to him later. Robbie Anderson for sure, though. I mean, I like his big playability. It's going to be inconsistent, like you said, but I mean, he's their way of moving down the field in big chunks.
Yeah, that's about all that they got. I didn't like the way they used Crowder last night. And you're right, the Jets do got this easy stretch coming up. So, and then they're going to be undervalued. They're going to be devalued after that shit show last night. So, you should be able to go out there and get your Jets. They do have a good schedule coming up. All right, let's see what else we got here. Waiver wire, Dallas Goedert. Is probably available if you need tight ends, and you mentioned Chris Herndon earlier.
Yeah, Goddard's hard for me. I mean, I'm a Philly guy. It's just you don't see the consistent volume there, but I guess if you're in a pinch, it makes sense. I mean, and who was the other guy you mentioned?
Chris Herndon.
Yeah, Chris Herndon. Oh yeah, definitely. He's a guy that we definitely have been targeting week after week. It stinks that when he was first eligible to return, he started getting injured. But this should be the game where he returns. And if you're struggling at the tight end position, Herndon should be your priority waiver wire ad this week.
Let me ask you this: what about what do you think about you talking about Herndon? And I agree with that. What do you think about Jimmy Graham if he's available?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be inconsistent. He's still splitting snaps with Mercedes Lewis. I think Mercedes Lewis has seen about 40% of the snaps. But Jimmy Graham still has that big size. He could still be used in the red zone to catch a touchdown. Honestly, once you're beyond the like top 7 or 8 tight ends, it's just a dart throw.
Yep, it's all the same. I agree with you on that one, and it's been that way for a couple years now. Listen. We're not. A lot of people are looking for OJ Howard to get traded. The thing with OJ Howard getting traded is OJ Howard is too cheap to trade. You know what I'm saying? Like his contract fits up perfectly. You saw the kind of money Darren Waller just got. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So OJ Howard will probably hit the open market after next season, but there's no reason for them to trade him now because he's cheap, he's young, and and they like what he does in the running game. He's an excellent blocker. Everybody knew that with him coming out of Alabama. So he may not be getting it done in the passing game, but he's getting it done in the running game. Not getting enough for us fantasy owners. You know what I'm saying? So we want to see the trade, but the Buccaneers will have to be blown away to trade a young man that they're paying, that they get on a very good salary. That's unfortunate for him. Let's get ready to take a first look at these Week 8 lines. Thursday night, the Vikings laying 16 versus DC. Let me tell you something. I can't lay 16 with Kirk Cousins against his old team, but the Washington's team total under 13, I'll hop on that.
Yeah, I love that we had Kyle Shanahan come in here and play against Washington last week, and now we've got Kirk Cousins. It's all about the vengeance.
I love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. Actually, it's gonna be a gross game. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
shit.
I don't see the Vikings hitting 29 points either against this team. I think they're just gonna run it with Dalvin Cook and just milk that clock. Um, yeah, I don't like either side here really. I would take the 16 points though if you're
Oh, you
forced.
would lay the 16?
Yeah. Oh no, I would go the other way. I think Washington might cover.
Okay, yeah, I've lost money betting on Washington back-to-back weeks earlier this year, and I worked too hard to let Washington football team come away. The Saints and the Cardinals. The Saints laying a big number, 9.5 at home. Teddy Bridgewater's been playing excellent. But Kyler Murray and crew has been playing better too. They come back across country for a 1 p.m. start this week. I do not believe that game is in. There's no London games this week. I don't think so. 9.5 is a big number. Bridgewater's been playing excellent. Does Breeze get back out there this week?
No, I don't think so. I think we still might have another week on him.
All right, so for me, it would probably be a no bet, or I would cash a number with the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's. I'm looking at nothing here. Like I don't trust the Saints offense enough to put up. I think they're registered for, or they're anticipated for 28.75 points on this 9.5 spread. 48 point total right now. It's a game I'd probably just avoid because we're probably still going to see Alvin Kamara out. He has a high ankle sprain. Those could take several weeks to recover from. Each one varies. It depends on the person, depends on the severity of the injury. It's a game I'd avoid at this point. It's only Tuesday. I think we need some news on Alvin Kamara before you make any moves here.
Depending on what kind of bankroll you're working with and how you like to manage it, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you'd like to have a little fun with it, you said that team total was 28 for the Saints?
Yeah, I'm looking at 28.75 right now.
I would put a couple dollars on maybe a quarter of a unit, something like that, a half a unit on the Saints defense to score a touchdown, because that's probably what's driving that number to 28.
Yeah, I mean, Murray's taken a ton of sacks lately. Definitely in play where he could be a hit with a sack force fumble and they're off to the races.
Yep, there you go, right there. Especially in that dome, it could get interesting for the young man. So that's one right there. Etch that in your kitchen table, as my man Lenny Melnick would say. Cincinnati and the Rams laying 13. The Bengals have quit. I don't like laying 13 with the Rams because Jared Goff stinks, but it's probably a no bet for me. I'm not. Listen. I've bet the Bengals successfully this year and got some backdoor covers out of them. But going across the country, a team that quit, I'm not catching that. But with the Rams laying 13, I don't like Jared Goff enough to do that.
See, I might actually do that because both starting corners for Cincinnati are out. Their pass rush has been non-existent. There's a lot of reasons to like the Rams here. That's 13 points is a lot, though. I'm surprised it's that high.
This is the first time I'm looking at these for this week's too. So we've already seen a 16 and a 13. Denver and the Colts. The Colts laying 6. I've been riding the Colts all year. No reason to stop now. It's interesting. This number may move. I like this number all the way up to 7, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I want. Well, as soon as we're done recording here, I'm going to hit this one because this Denver offense, they've given up. I don't know if you watched Thursday night's game, but they just did not try to attack at all against Kansas City, and it was embarrassing to watch. Like, they just decided to give up and run the ball when they were down by over 14 points, and it was just head-scratching why they didn't even try.
And then with this, FanDuel has this 6 at plus 100. So you're getting even money. You're getting this with no juice. So you're right. It's a good idea to hit this one now. And I'm not in New Jersey to do so, but I'll figure out somebody in Jersey to hit this one for me today. The Chargers and the Bears are one of the more interesting games of the week. The Bears laying 4. The Bears can't score, but the Chargers have been a shit show this season. Here we go with the Chargers again. The Chargers come across the country again for a 1 p.m. start. I probably would money line. The Bears looked horrific this past week, but they're probably a point or two better than the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to rag on the Bears, but I think the Chargers have been just as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the one play I'm really interested in this week is Allen Robinson. I think he can do some work here against Casey Hayward and the rest of these defensive backs here. But yeah, as far as the spread, I like the 4-point spread here. Honestly, I might let this one go. These are two offenses that I want to avoid.
Exactly. I would let it go too. I'm not fooling with that one. The Lions and the Giants in Detroit. The Lions laying 7. The Lions coming off of back-to-back tough losses. Um, I think the Lions are 7 points better than the Giants. I would lay the 7 with the Lions.
Yep, I'm with you there. I mean, we mentioned it earlier with the injury to Kerryon Johnson. I think they're going to be passing heavily. You can throw all over this Giants defense. They're 32nd in pass DVOA. Yeah, hit the Lions at 7.
You know, it's interesting. Oh, now are we being biased against the Giants because I root for the Cowboys? You root for the Eagles. Oh, speaking of you rooting for the Eagles, that was horrible on Sunday night. But see, I don't like to give it I don't like when I'm talking about the Giants. It's like, okay, am I being biased? But we're not being biased, right? The Giants stink, right? The Lions are better than the Giants.
Yeah, they are bad. We can definitively say that. Fandom aside, the Giants are not doing well this year.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure because I'm just hearing about Daniel Jones and the Hall of Fame, and I'm like, all right, but the Giants are still the Giants that we thought they would be. The Jets and the Jaguars. The Jets travel down to northern Florida to take on Jacksonville, Duval. The Jags laying 6 against the Jets. Nick Foles is getting close to y'all. So stash Chris Conley on your benches because I think that Chris Conley is the kind of player that fits the way that Nick Foles play. But Nick Foles should be back within the next 2 or 3 weeks or so. So he'll be back to take this offense over. Tyler, what do you think about the Jags laying this 6?
I might take the Jets side of this, actually. I think the Jets are about to go on a run, and it starts here with Jacksonville. They got rid of Ramsey, and their replacement, Trey Herndon, he's like a bottom 10 corner by PFF's metrics. You can definitely attack them via the slot as well, so I think it sets up well for both Robbie Anderson and Jameson Crowder. I like this move here.
All right.
Jets plus 6.
Okay, I can get behind that. It's probably a no bet for me, but if it was to do anything with it, it'll probably be I can see myself back in the Jets in this one. The Eagles travel to Buffalo. I believe the Eagles came into this game as a 1-point favorite. Now the Eagles are a 2.5-point dog. I think this is a bounce back spot for Philadelphia.
I want to say yes, but I think their bounce back spot doesn't happen until Deshaun Jackson returns.
Really?
Like his ability to spread that defense and open things up underneath. I mean, we're seeing terrible routes run by the receivers and tight ends, and it's just not getting done. Like, this is probably a one I'd avoid. I don't like this one. I might actually hit the under here at 42.5 still, even with that low total.
If the Eagles go to Buffalo and lose this week, it ain't gonna be pretty. You know what I'm saying? They lose this week and fall to 3-5 to the Buffalo Bills. This is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. You know what I'm saying? And I think things can start to turn in that locker room.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic at all as an Eagles fan. Like things are looking bad right now, and I don't think it gets better with a road trip to Buffalo.
Buffalo can be tough, you know what I'm saying? Especially the way they're playing right now. That defense is legit. You know how that home field advantage is. But I think Philadelphia's a team with their back against the wall, and they got to come out swinging. The Seahawks host the Atlanta Falcons. I'll put the mortgage on the Seahawks, and I'll lay the 5.5.
Oh, I'm seeing 3.5 right now. I'm hitting that right now.
Oh, you seeing a 3? You got a 3.5 down there?
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
This is through. I'm looking through Fantasy Labs where they have like a bunch of tables and spreads, and they show movement and everything. But yeah, I'll definitely have to follow up to see what my books say at FanDuel Sportsbook.
I'm on FanDuel right now, and I got it at 5.5. If y'all got it at 3.5 in Pennsylvania, I'm taking that trip down there. Tampa Bay and Tennessee. Tennessee laying 2.5 versus the Buccaneers. I don't like this game at all. Tennessee. I'm not a Tannehill guy. I may find a prop bet or something in here. I'm not touching this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like Tennessee's defense can also like surprisingly show up. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to make this one of those 4-interception Winston games. It's one I'm going to leave alone as well.
Carolina and San Fran in one of the games of the week. San Fran gets a truly tough test right here with Carolina coming across country. We've seen Kyle Allen perform well on the road. This spreads to that magic number of 5.5. I don't know. I feel like this is the Panthers right here catching this 5.5. But if the Panthers are a big public favorite, I might look the other way.
I think I might actually go with the 5.5 for San Francisco here because
Like San Fran in this spot, huh?
yeah, I mean Carolina's run defense, they're 29th in run DVOA. There's definitely an ability here for the Rams to just run wild playing at home. I really like this 49ers squad in the rushing attack. They're just relentless with it.
Yeah, it's a no-name team. You know what I'm saying? It's just give the ball to whoever's up, and you know what I'm saying? Listen, Kyle Shanahan has his team rolling. They're playing good defense. Carolina looks special this year to me, though. The thing with that Carolina has the best player on the field, in Christian McCaffrey.
Hard to dispute that, yes.
That's going to make it interesting.
Have you heard anything about Cam Newton coming back yet?
Cam Newton will not play this week, but I think Cam Newton will start. Next week, this time, Cam Newton should be practicing. I'm not sure. They've already had their bye week, but yeah, I think Cam Newton starts practicing next week at this time. I think the decision is easy. You give him his job back. A healthy Cam Newton is better than Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen is better than the beat-up Cam Newton, though. The Cleveland Browns travel to New England to play the Patriots. The Patriots are laying 13. There's another spot where I got Bill Belichick versus a young quarterback. I'm riding the Patriots.
Yep. Nothing else to add there. I think you just ride the Patriots.
Yep. Listen, I'm a Browns backer, and I got some fantasy teams that I paid a lot of money in entry fees that have Odell Beckham on them, and I'm telling you, I'm not happy about it. And even looking at this week, Baker's not going to be able to beat Bill Belichick. Period. And it could get ugly. So I'm laying at 13 with the Pats. The Raiders and the Texans. You got two public teams right here. The public loves the Texans. The public also loves the Raiders. The Texans at home laying 6.5. I think the Raiders can bounce back. I've seen the Texans play bad at home this year too. I don't know if I lay the 6.5. I probably put the Texans in the money line parlay.
Yeah, what's funny is the Garyon Conley trade. He goes right to Houston right now, so he'll be facing his former team right off the bat.
Look at that. You know what I'm saying? It's like I barely left.
Yeah, I might hit the over on this one actually. 50.5 right now. I think both these defenses can get passed on.
That's not a bad idea. That's actually a good idea. I think I'll join you on that. The Packers and the Chiefs. The Packers go on the road, lay 4 to the Matt Moore-led Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Packers are getting it done this season with smoke and mirrors. I don't think they're that good. Here they go, Aaron Rodgers in the primetime spot versus the Chiefs who can't play no defense. Now they can't run the football. And now they got Matt Moore as their quarterback. I still think I want to take the 4 with the Chiefs, though.
Oh, really? It's tough for me because Matt Moore didn't really get much done aside from like a broken play where he just sent like go Tyreek, go deep. And they got lucky for like a 57-yard touchdown or however the length was. I do like this Packers secondary, though. I think they're a pretty solid squad. I think I'd take the Packers here at -4. I mean, we saw Aaron Rodgers get it done last week with a bunch of backups. We saw it get done with a bunch of banged-up wide receivers. I don't respect this Chiefs defense enough to give them that 4 points.
That you make a good point on that Chiefs defense. That makes sense. All right. So that's the first look. Of course, we'll continue to break it down and look at injury situations and stuff like that as we move throughout the course of the week. What I want to do right here before we get out of here is don't forget Elite Fantasy NBA coverage is up and rolling right now. You got 2 games tonight. You got a full slate tomorrow night. So you got a whole team over there. Elite Fantasy will help you get it done this fantasy basketball season for DFS and for basketball betting also. I'm going to be making picks in the betting package, but I will give you these 2 today behind the paywall. Tonight with the Pelicans and the Raptors. No Zion tonight, which was everybody was looking forward to seeing that. But listen, I think the Raptors are still a good team. This number opened up at about 5. It's pushed up to 7 with the Zion news. I like the under in this, the under 231. I think that's where it goes. If anything, I would lay the Raptors in the first half. When you look at the other game tonight, another marquee matchup, the Lakers and the Clippers after the big trade or whatever. I mean, after the big signing with the Clippers, and then right after that, we hear news that Paul George is joining Kawhi Leonard with the Clippers. Our first thought was, okay, when is the Clippers and the Lakers going to play? That game is tonight. To set it off, I'm glad that we get TNT back tonight because I can't Chuck, Ernie, and Shaq. That show more on television. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to that tonight. This game opened up with the Clippers being a 1-point favorite. it is now shifted to the Lakers being a 3.5-point favorite. So you have to bet the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? Because a spread moves that much. I don't love the Clippers in this game either, but just the smart bet is on the Clippers. But I will put a bigger unit on the under 224 in this one right here. So that's where I'm at tonight for those two games. And then you can catch what everybody else has to say in the Elite Sports Betting Package. Your Philadelphia 76ers, they get it kicked off tomorrow, and you get it kicked off with some arch rivals as the Boston Celtics come to town. What do you think of your Sixers this year, and what do you think of them tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm all in. I think they have a chance to take the East, and it'll be fun to see Horford play against his former team right off the bat. Definitely a good game. Like I'm excited to see these Sixers play. Like they're huge in size, and it's going to be interesting to see how well they perform, and we'll see how well they do with health as well.
Yeah, well, health is like you said, that's definitely key. If you, what do you think they should do with Embiid? Should they try to get the best record in the Eastern Conference and go out there and run Embiid, or should they load manage Embiid and be like, okay, it doesn't make a difference if we're the third seed. We want to be there in the end. We want Embiid to be healthy.
I think getting Embiid there healthy is the biggest thing, and we've seen time and time now that he's been a game-time decision on almost a nightly basis. If you can manage that load even just a little bit, I mean, they have the size to where they don't need him to be out there for.
I think that's why the Horford signing was so critical, because now you don't have to put all that strenuous work on Embiid, and you can have Embiid ready for the for the playoff stretch.
Totally agree, and I think that's the biggest key is getting them ready for the playoffs. And I mean, like I think they're the favorites right now to win the East. If not, they're second. I just put money on them earlier, where they were 7-1 to take it all, and
you put money on. You didn't even bet them to win the championship. You bet them to win the East. I mean, you didn't bet them to win the East. You bet them to win the championship.
I went for it all. Yeah.
And I don't blame you. Because by the time what I tell people all the time is, and I've seen it done. I'm not a real big future bet player. I like to turn my money over fast. You know what I'm saying? But what I've seen time and time again, and it's very smart. I was going to do it this year, but I got to miss with the Cowboys. Thankfully, I might be a good idea that I didn't do it. One of the things that I've seen with these bets with these futures you put that future in on the 76ers. By the time you get to the conference finals, you can just start hedging against it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like you holding on to that Philadelphia ticket, so then you just start hedging against it. That's what a smart bettor would do, in my opinion.
Yep. Hedging is definitely an underappreciated art in this, but definitely a smart way to play it.
No doubt. All right, so for my main man, Tyler, I'm Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. Tyler, thanks for hanging out and checking in for Benny today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, no doubt about it. So we'll be back tomorrow, later on this week, get you caught up with the NBA, get everything rolling. My main man, Tyler, is Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. The opening line, we are out.